Hey everyone, welcome back to another installment of Radio Free Decipher. I'm Kyle Hoyer, and with me as always is Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
No, it's Evan Lawrence. He's got a little bit of the...
It is me, believe it or not, but I have a sore throat, and so I kind of have this little Wolfman Jack vibe going.
Right. We're making him talk anyway, so...
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to get emailed, like, home remedies, and are you feeling better? And I'm feeling fine. I just can't talk. That's all. You know,
we've been... this is our first Radio Free of the new year, and we had a couple weeks off, but I got to say, our last broadcast was so memorable...
Yeah.
That I got it talked up to me when I was out on vacation in California, and so many people, emails and all kinds of stuff about the whale song.
Well, not only about the whale song, but about the kind of odd format we used with Brad hosting and us guests.
Actually, my mom asked me that. She said, how come you guys aren't doing Radio Free anymore? No, just kidding. He was
we were just... we said, Brad, you need to come on, be on RFD. And he says, I'll be on if I can host. And we thought, well, it's the end of the year. We're being silly anyway. We got vacations, so...
Yep.
So there you go.
That's what happened. Well, we have a loaded show today for you, full of, not much.
Loaded show of nothing, huh?
Yes. Basically, I've got, one small little thing of business, and then I kind of want to hear what happened, because I know that you had a big tournament going on in Denver, and I had one going on in L.A.
All right, well, we'll talk about that. We should fill this with as much as we can, because this is going to be like the first RFD where people will be able to tell us apart.
There you go, something like that. Well, our small piece of business is to let you know about some stuff going on DGMA.com.
Okay.
For those of you that are already got your plane tickets for Las Vegas, the Premier Series Las Vegas that's going on in February. There are PSQs, Premier Series Qualifiers, going on starting, they've already started, but this coming weekend, tomorrow, starts the big push for PSQs. I think there's like 10 of them this weekend.
That's great.
And then they're just going to be flooding in PSQs all the time. And remember, to play in the Premier Series tournaments this year, you have to have Premier points. So you can either receive those Premier points from last year at all the Premier Series qualifiers and whatever events that you played in, or you can get them by playing in Premier Series qualifiers. And to find out all the details about that, please check out DGMA.com for all the details, as well as the complete listing of all the Premier Series qualifiers that are coming up. So,
okay.
Lots of good stuff.
Yeah.
The other piece of business that I need to talk about on DGMA is we now have featured ongoing weekly articles for Lord of the Rings going on there. Every single Monday now, Mike Gerard is writing a column called Local Metagame, and then every single Thursday, Stephen Lewis is writing the Lord of the Rings deck clinic. So, very good, very informationally laden articles that are going on a weekly basis. So, you've always got some good content going up there.
Sounds good.
I think actually Stephen Lewis is on vacation right now, so...
so it might start a week late.
No, I think Kim Caton wrote this week's article for him. So, even if those people, have other, things going on, we're still going to try and get it going.
Great.
So, yeah, it looks pretty good. So, very happy about that. Now, tell me all about... Okay, go ahead.
First of all, there is one more piece of notice, and we've seen a lot on the boards that people are talking about the second edition boosters. They're having a very hard time getting a hold of. The reason for that, in case you have not heard, is that we are currently out of them in our warehouse. We're completely sold through. That is not everything we printed. It's just that we had to make the release date, and so we only manufactured a percentage of what was completely printed, and we expected it to last longer than it did, but you guys are snatching it up at a furious pace, which is, good news.
Must feel good as one of the designers.
Nice. So, unfortunately, boosters are out of stock in the warehouse, and we don't expect to get them back in until sometime next week. So it will then take a while for that to get back out from our warehouse to distributors onto retailers. So it should be
like a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Yeah, it should be probably around the end of next week would be the earliest you could expect those to start arriving again. But if you are interested, do continue to tell your retailers you want it to make sure that message is then getting back to the distributors and it does get reordered.
Right.
Because a lot of stores are just happy to sell out of what they get, and then they aren't actively looking to reorder. So you definitely want to be out there hitting them, telling them, I want this this back in stock. I want to buy some from you, and they will look into it.
You know, I'm sorry, man. I got a little distracted there. Your voice is kind of throwing me off.
Just
you know, you saw that movie, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Uh-huh.
In the movie, Robin
Harvey
Williams.
Firestein.
Yeah, your voice sounds like Harvey Firestein.
That's really bad. I just want to be loved. Is that so wrong?
All right. Anyways, moving on. Tell me about your big tournament that happened. Do the setup and everything that happened.
Well, those of you who listened to RFD at the tail end of December before we left know that Kyle was going to go out and do a challenge tournament in California of Lord of the Rings along with Kevin. Kind of at the last minute, Scott Gata at Collector Mania invited us to do a bounty tournament for a second edition, a sealed deck tournament. Brad and I both have family back in Colorado, and that's what we were doing for our Christmas. So we said, sure, we'll show up, and we went and played a bounty tournament there at his store on the 22nd, I think it was. Had a really good time.
How'd you do? Now, what happens if somebody beats you? I mean, give everybody the full explanation.
This was it was a
second edition sealed deck.
It was a sealed deck tournament, a starter and 3 boosters, and each player who beat either Brad or myself got a free box of boosters of the, we didn't know at the time, sold out boosters. See,
nice.
There you go. And it was a good tournament. I ended up losing my last game just by a hair. Yeah, I kind of made a foolish mistake, I'm sorry to say, but I did all right.
So you went 3-1.
So I went 3-1. It's interesting. The guy that I played in round 2 went on to play Brad in round 3 and beat Brad where he lost to me.
Nice.
And then the guy in round 3 who I beat went on to play Brad in round 4 and beat Brad where he lost to me. So Brad ended up going 2-2 for the day, but it was a really good, fun event. We had a really great time.
Excellent.
I played the Romulan starter deck for people who are going to ask.
Yes.
I know they will.
Yes.
I believe Brad played the Deep Space Nine starter deck. The tournament was won by the guy that beat me in the 4th game, and I'm trying to remember which starter deck he had. I believe it was the Next Generation starter deck. But there was a good variety all around, and a few returning faces that I haven't seen since I hit tournaments in Colorado. And then there was the guy who won, I believe, learned the game earlier that week.
Nice. So
there are new players showing up on the Star Trek CCG scene now as well.
Excellent.
How did your bounty event go?
Well, mine went. We had a little bit more lead time on ours, so we got the word out pretty successfully. We had 45 people show up for this at a place that can probably hold 10.
Wow.
No, but no, it was at Squeeze Play in Tustin, California, and the owner, Brian Walters, his dad owns like the lawnmower repair shop next door, which they have more room, so we set up a bunch of tables in there as well. And it was a 5-game tournament, and both Kevin and I had a bounty on our heads, so we were playing a fellowship draft tournament. And the prize, if you beat Kevin or myself, you got a box of 2 Towers cards.
Outstanding.
And I did pretty well. I won my first 4 games, so I was undefeated going into the final game. And but the guy that I played in that game got a great draw, just whooped me. He outraced me to 9. So I lost 1 game. Congratulations to him. But I did get to play one of my nemeses, Tom Mascari. I played this guy so many times in games, Young Jedi, Jedi Knights, whatever. And I've played him actually in 2 previous bounty tournaments before this, and he's beaten me both times.
Ouch.
So we got matched up against each other again. In this one, I'm just like, oh, geez, this guy has got my number, right? And sorry, Tom, but I smashed you.
Nice.
I really smashed you.
Congratulations.
So Kevin didn't fare quite as well as myself. He went 3-2. He won his first 2, then dropped 2, and then won his last one. And somewhat of a similar situation. He, the guy that I played in the first game that I beat, had to play Kevin in the 3rd game and beat Kevin.
Nice.
So a little bit of that, fun. So
yes, it's good for the players who get like a second chance. They figured out what they did wrong and they used it to win their box.
I had a fantastic booster draft deck. My minion packages that came in the booster draft were big Uruks, so they had all the damage +1. Then it had half Uruk package and then half Sauron Orc package that were all the exert to hurt guys.
Nice.
So you exert them to do a damage to the person they're skirmishing with. So all of those guys had the possibility of doing 2 wounds. Then I got an Inkea in my draft pack, which is phenomenal in sealed deck, and he's fierce, so he has the possibility of doing 2 wounds. Then I drafted an Ulari Nertia, who can get any minion back, so I was able to get back my cool. Inkea if I needed or whatever, and he's fierce, so everybody had the possibility of doing 2 damages, so it was really, really cool. And then on top of that, I had mostly an Urk package because I kept drafting Uruks because the damage +1 is just so good. And I drafted 2 of the card. I can't remember what it is, but it basically says, exert an Uruk, and you can exert a companion for each dwarf, man, elf, wizard that you spot. And I got 2 of those. And in booster draft, you can recycle your discard pile when it runs out. So I was hitting people with that like 2 and 3 and 4 times a game. And with all the damage +1, multiple damage opportunities I had, I was just really able to crush fellowships pretty quickly. So
it's cool.
It was a good time.
Yeah, I think the star rare that I got was Suran, who is a Romulan personnel whose skills are just perfectly suited to the missions that you get in the starter decks. Right. But actually, the real star cards that I got from my boosters were commons. I got Prantainer, who's a common personnel with 2 geology, which gets you around the micro-brain dilemma. And I got the dilemma. I can't remember it because it had funny names all through my testing. I got Ornaran Threat, which is a really outstandingly useful common dilemma that worked for me well. Oh, and in the uncommons, I got Graythan Tolar, who is useful for the same reason as Prantainer. Graythan Tolar has 2 programming, which means that dilemmas that require 2 programming, which ordinarily you wouldn't have a way around, now you do. So
nice.
It worked out pretty well for me.
The one other interesting note about my deck that I played was that after the tournament, I wanted to give my deck away to someone. So I was like, well, let's see if I got any really good rares in here. I didn't have a single rare in the deck that I played.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. So I went through all the extra cards I had, and I only had 2 rares. I got one in my booster pack, or my draft pack, and that I didn't use, and then I drafted one other and decided not to use it.
Wow. Well, that's really pretty cool.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. So, other than that, I'm sure everybody is tired to death of listening to our little tournament stories.
Yes, and, maybe so.
So I really enjoyed 2 Towers. I've seen it 4 times now.
Yikes.
And I've seen Nemesis twice.
I've seen Nemesis twice. I've seen the 2 Towers just the once.
Mm-hmm.
But a good time was had by all.
It was. So, well, other than that, everybody here in the office is kind of getting their legs back. And
yeah, I'm not the only one who's sick, I think. And,
oh, really? Well, I'm not sick, but my problem is that I had 1,600 emails this morning, so I'm kind of trying to get my head around everything again.
I'm not actually sick. I just lost my voice, but that tends to happen when you stay up to like 3 a.m. several nights in a row, which I did. So. So anyway, but yes, we all have a backlog of work from the holidays to get caught up on. So
yep,
and we will go
now
attend
starts
to that.
the new year, and so everyone out there have a fantastic and happy New Year, and hope you stick to all of those resolutions that you have already broken. So, all right, thanks so much, and we'll see you next week.